Welcome to Miami. It's the Final Four, the last home series of the season. The Cincinnati Reds in town for a four-game set against the homestanding Miami Marlins. We welcome you inside the broadcast booth. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth. Something a little different planned for you. We like to have a little bit of fun throughout the nights here at the ballpark. We try our best. Tonight's something a little different, though. Pop-out video night. So like little factoids, little nuggets will pop up throughout the broadcast. Boy, I hope that's a good one. Is it nice?
You're from Bristol?
Yes. Okay, so that was good. Yeah, there might be some, Paul is bald or whatever kind of things throughout the night, which is true. That one is true as well for you. So this will be fun.
Should have worn my ring tonight.
Well, that's your fault. You knew this was coming.
I like to rub it in.
All right, so anyway, that's going to be fun throughout the night, so keep an eye out for that. Baseball game tonight, of course, the Reds and the Marlins first of a four-game set. One bright spot the last week or so, maybe even throughout this month of September with the call-ups, has been Peter O'Brien, some homers, some extra base hits, and a little more first base in his future.
Well, listen, we knew that the power was there when he got here. Now we're seeing it, and I think people are starting to buy into and believe what could potentially be an audition for next season. O'Brien has been going line to line. You've seen that power, and I'll tell you, he's coming off a great game against Strasburg. It certainly caught my attention. Had some of the best at-bats of the ball game. Took his walks as well. So again, you're taking September for what it's worth, doing something with it. Don Mattingly talked about this an awful lot as the team entered the month of September. There's still for a lot of guys to prove a lot of opportunity out there.
And one of the guys that has an opportunity in September is tonight's starting pitcher for the Marlins, Jeff Brigham. This will be the third time we've seen him. The first one, erratic. The second one, better, but still room for improvement.
Well, and again, that's you're hoping for tonight that it follows a very similar pattern, right? We go back to the Toronto start, and I think that what we saw is maybe the advertisements or the lead-in really didn't happen at all. He looked a little nervous. He was very erratic. 4 walks, goes to the next start, much improved. Now, granted, not a long start, but definitely steps in the right direction. So now he's back at Marlins Park. You hope he puts it all together tonight.
And on the other side for the Cincinnati Reds, kind of a similar situation as the Marlins right now, trying to feel their way out in what 2019 may look like. Cody Reed gets the ball, a career-high 10 strikeouts at Wrigley.
Well, and 7 of the 10 strikeouts on the slider, and he's going to throw it about 40% of the time. This is a young man who's got a good arm and certainly has been thought of in a lot of ways, a lot of different ways over the last 3 seasons. You're going to see the velocity with the sliders now his new favorite pitch, and certainly it's been on display, and you're going to see it an awful lot tonight. You're also going to see a righty-heavy Marlins lineup.
And one big lefty on the other side is Joey Votto. If he stopped playing today, he might go right to Cooperstown. The guys will talk about how great he's been for how long next. Lineup, Joey Votto. For more on him, out to center field.
Well, thank you very much, Paul. He is the 8th largest paid athlete in the world, $225 million. So there's a lot of respect for Joey Votto. But sometimes on a baseball standpoint, with all those walks and sometimes not enough run production in some people's eyes, maybe he doesn't get enough appreciation.
Overshadowed? Yeah, I think overshadowed. I mean, if you look at the Cincinnati Reds, obviously in the cellar, and they've been there for a number of years, but I do think he is an outstanding player. MVP in 2010, 6-time All-Star. He's a career .311 hitter. 5 times he's led the National League in walks. In 9 out of his 12 seasons, he's hit over 300. So obviously one of the best players in the game. You just mentioned his pay. Outstanding, over $200 million contract. But you have Hosmer for San Diego. You have Freeman, who's in the division with Atlanta. You have Rizzo, Bellinger, Aguilar now at Milwaukee in the same division, and also Zimmerman. You have a lot of great first basemen, and I think because of Cincinnati being probably in the cellars, he doesn't give as enough or as much recognition as he probably should.
He might lead the league for a 7th time in on-base percentage, which is one of his great qualities. But this year's home run production down. He had 36 last year, only 12 this year. He did miss some
injuries a little bit. Yeah, you're right.
Only
12 homers, 67 RBIs. That's not like him. He is hitting 288. But yeah, with the guys I just mentioned, and because the Reds aren't that great of a team yet, if he's on a contender, he's probably shooting for MVP. He probably could win more than just the one he won in 2010.
We'll see if we have a pop-up detail, and most of them will be on the Marlins coming up on our special broadcast night here. The Reds and the Marlins. Game 1 of this 4-game series coming at you on Fox Sports Florida's pop-up night next.
Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today, and by your South Florida Toyota dealers. Here inside Marlins Park, set for the first of a 4-game series between the Reds and the Marlins, the last home series of the 2018 season for the Marlins. Here is a look at the Reds starting lineup, presented to you by Southwest. Of course, Scott Schebler is at the top. Jose Peraza having an interesting year, and I mean that in a good way for sure. Joey Votto, we'll talk about him at great length throughout. Scooter Gennett is battling for a National League batting crown, and Eugenio Suarez putting up some good numbers for the Reds as well. Jeff Brigham is set and ready to roll. This will be his third major league start, and as we noted, hoping for some better results. It's his second start here at home, and his first pitch in as a called strike to Scott Schebler. We're underway, Holly.
Yeah, that's right. Making his third start. You see the ERA, 7.36, but I'd like to think it's working its way down. His last start, a decent one, certainly better than the first one. Point being, he threw more strikes. First start gets the Toronto Blue Jays 4 walks. Last time, much better. 1 walk, a couple strikeouts. He did have an outstanding minor league season this year, 10-3 with a 2.36 ERA.
Ahead of Schebler, a ball and 2 strikes. Schebler comes in hitting .270 on the season. Just a little over a month after the All-Star break and a sprained AC joint in his right shoulder. Kicks away from Real Muto. That little factoid on Schebler. Again, we'll have those throughout the night. Some will reference, some we may not, but pay attention to them nonetheless. Like, you don't need a pop-up to show you that he's got 1 strikeout, do you? But it's there, kind of, sort of. 1 away.
I definitely don't need that. Well, makes doing the defense a lot easier when you're striking out hitters. There you go. Dean gets the start in left, Brinson in center. Galloway getting the start in right field tonight. Rojas, Riddle, he's the only lefty in the lineup. Castro, O'Brien, and Real Muto behind the plate. And that's right. You see it from the Marlins' perspective. Lefty on the mound for the Reds. JT Riddle, only lefty in the lineup.
So a ball and no strikes to Jose Peraza. Putting together a pretty solid year. You see the 290 and the 13 home runs and the 56 RBIs. Team leader with 31 doubles as well, and a nice jump from last year's numbers. An OPS at 749 this year, was 622 last year. Sends one in the air to right field. That is Galloway for out number 2. And in steps Joey Votto. Nobody on and 2 out. And that on-base percentage that you see in our pop-out video, he could potentially lead the National League for a 7th time in on-base percentage this year. Currently leading the National League at .423 and 3rd best in all of baseball behind Mike Trout and Mookie Betts.
Right. Well, the one thing I know, listen, I saw a lot of Joey Votto obviously in the Central. And certainly know about his on-base percentage, all career, all time. .428. I mean, that's absolutely outstanding. I guess what I'm getting at is throughout his career, well, really up until this season, it was paired with 20+ home run power. It's the one thing that's really missed this season. Joey Votto is getting on base, he's getting his hits, he's hot right now, but he has not been hitting home runs.
There's been some of that little half swing type thing that he's been doing. Contact hitter.
Well, and it seems as though, you know, and I remember when Joey did this for the first time 2 or 3 years ago, started really choking up on that bat with 2 strikes, and then it kind of became a little bit of an approach when he was feeling good. You just started doing, see, he's doing it right now, about 2-3 inches on the end of the bat, doing it more and more and more. But what comes with that maybe comes the ability to make better contact when you're down in the count, but the point is that it doesn't necessarily lend itself to home run hitting.
A ball and 2 strikes from Brigham, and a couple of strikeouts in the first. Very well done by the youngster. A 1-2-3 inning with 2 Ks, and he gets Votto with 95. day outside. A little rain this afternoon, but that's kind of customary around here, I suppose. Here is a look at the Marlins starting lineup presented to you by Southwest. Miguel Rojas in the top spot. Starlin Castro hits second and plays second. JT Realmuto, Peter O'Brien go 3 and 4. No Brian Anderson tonight. Don Mattingly said before the game, just wanted to give Brian Anderson another day, kind of pair the off day with a game off as well. That BA's been fighting himself a little bit. So there's the lineup. Miggy's ready to roll, and Cody Reed's first pitch misses up and away for ball 1.
All right, Cody Reed making his 6th start of the season. Now he's pitched both out of the bullpen and in the rotation. Now of late he's been in the rotation. 5.40 ERA as a starter, 2.31 ERA, and 10 relief appearances. He's made 4 consecutive starts, all 5 innings or less. 4-seam fastball, the sinker, and slider. We're going to talk about that an awful lot tonight.
Outside to Rojas, 2 balls and a strike. Miggy with hits in 4 of his last 5 games, including a home run and 3 RBIs. Grounds that one into the Marlins dugout. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, that would explain the good hand-eye coordination. The ping pong.
Born to be a shortstop.
That's right.
Right, yeah. No doubt about it.
2-2 from Reed. Tap foul. I will say, I don't know if you got a chance to look at some of these nuggets that we'll be seeing throughout the pop-out videos tonight.
I did not.
Nope. So there will certainly be some, oh really, throughout the broadcast.
Maiden voyage.
Yeah. Yep. The list was kept in a safe, I'm told.
Correct.
Two from Reed. On the ground and a base hit up the middle for Miguel Rojas. Nice way to start the game with a leadoff base hit.
All right, let's go ahead and get you the AutoNation scouting report of Cody Reed for tonight's ball game. Give it a start. Here's where I'm going with this. Reed is making his 17th career start. Now that spans over 3 seasons. His record's 0-9. He's never won as a starter. Only when came in relief in 2017. And as a starter in his career, how about an ERA of 7.44? Now, early offense, so I let Rojas know about this as the game was starting, so he got a base hit for us. Can the Marlins, make things happen early in this ball game? So listen to some career numbers for Reed. First inning career ERA 11.25. Second inning 8.22. What does that tell you? He can have trouble settling in early. Slider mania, you're going to see it. If he succeeds tonight, the slider's going to tell the story. Season high 43 sliders in the start versus the Cubs. 7 of the 10 strikeouts on that pitch, and 27 of 34 on the season.
Strike at the bottom of the zone to Starlin Castro, and it is 0-2 to Starlin. Comes in with 12 homers, 54 RBIs, and a .281 average. And down on 3 pitches for the first out of the inning.
Go ahead and get to the Reds defensively behind Reed. Williams gets the start in left. Hamilton, the speedster, in center. Schebler in right. Suarez, Peraza, Jeanette, Votto, Barnhart behind the plate. 3 All-Stars on the infield in Jeanette, Votto, and Suarez. 86 errors on the season. That's 14th most in Major League Baseball.
The catcher, JT Realmuto, takes a strike. Last 18 games for JT, 5 homers, 10 RBIs. Overall, 21 homers on the season. 18 of them, this is where things may get a little granular, but worth noting. This one hit on the ground to short, and they'll get the 1. That's all they'll get. The 18 home runs, one shy of Charles Johnson's team record, was the point I was about to make before he grounded into the fielder's choice, and there are two away. That'll bring up Peter O'Brien.
Yeah, he's been on a nice run. You see the average going up, up, up. A lot of that based on his most recent production. 7 for his last 15. 3 homers, 2 doubles, 6 RBIs.
Into center, and that's going to get down in front of Billy Hamilton. On his way to third is Real Muto. Here is the throw in there safely. 12 outfield assists for Billy Hamilton, but JT in there just ahead of the tag.
Let's watch it full speed. Brian stays hot. Used to swing the bat early, stayed inside that one. Hamilton comes up firing. JT moving right. Slight hesitation around second base. Watch JT as he makes his way. Yeah, see, there you go. Gets a little heads up. I kind of was paying attention. Maybe he was baiting Hamilton just a bit, but close play at third. Hamilton's throw beat JT just offline.
The old adage, don't make the first or third out at third base. A close play. JT's in there safely, and now Austin Dean has runners on the corners and 2 outs. Too short for Peraza. The underhand flip to Jeanette. And the Marlins strand a couple in the first. Scoreless after 1.
Reds starting at just $30. Get a ticket to the game, unlimited Nathan's hot dogs, popcorn, peanuts, nachos, and Pepsi soft drinks, or Aquafina water if you want. Purchase your tickets for all you can eat Saturdays at marlins.com/AYCE.
Scooter Jeanette to lead things off in the second for the Reds against Jeff Brigham, whose first pitch is upstairs for ball 1. A good first inning for Brigham. Couple of strikeouts, one of Scott Schebler, one of Joey Votto. In a 1-2-3 first, it'll be Jeanette, Suarez, and Mason Williams for Cincinnati. 1-1 to Jeanette. who is second in the National League in average at 317. Christian Yelich right now at 319. Of course, it was Yelich who had his second cycle of the year against these very same Cincinnati Reds in the series prior to Cincinnati getting to Miami.
Well, a lot to be decided. I think it's going to be exciting. Jeanette's been cool, though. He hasn't been percolating, if you will. Yelich has been, as you mentioned. Batting average climbing back up. In case you're curious, last Red to win a batting title, Pete Rose.
Austin Dean's favorite player.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're playing off of there. 338 in 1973, and we all know 1973 was the best year ever.
Most of your birthday.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
My birthday.
Your birthday
Where it all
year.
started.
Your birth year, yeah. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jeanette. The count now full.
Two.
23 years after his birth.
It's good math. Question is, do you know where I was born?
Probably somewhere in like Washington State.
Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio. Oh, you know what? I knew that.
See, a little.
You
Pete
have
Rose
That's
was
right.
winning a batting title. I was busy breathing air for the first time.
I do remember that. Yeah, you.
Apparently, you're from Bristol.
Evidently, yes. Now, where was I born?
Connecticut.
All right,
Your mommy's belly?
Yeah, you're right. My son did say that one time. Someone very prominent in this organization asked him one time, where'd you come from? He said, my mom. All right. She's right over there. Think that'll work. Yeah, she's right there. You can ask her. Upstairs to Eugenio Suarez. Hitless in his last 14 at-bats. And on the year hitting .283. And skies one out to right for Isaac Galloway to make the catch. One away.
As Brigham gets that first out in the second inning. Kind of reflecting back to the first inning. In the first inning of his big league debut earlier this month. Remember the first inning against the Toronto Blue Jays? We saw 30 pitches tonight, and we talked about progression, getting better, making adjustments. 13 pitches first inning, a couple of strikeouts.
Mason Williams. 1 on and 1 out. Offers at the first pitch, fouls it back. And that's what Don Mattingly said even after his last start, was that we saw the ball coming out of his hand a little bit better. And he threw some better breaking balls. He said today some of the misses were a little bit better. Now, again, and you mentioned it before, the minor league numbers for Brigham across multiple levels of the minor leagues as well. How good he was throughout the year to get the opportunity. I've heard it from a lot of guys who've seen him. Chad Wallach, to name one, who caught him twice in the big leagues and a lot in the minor leagues. It wasn't him.
Right.
You know. So Wallach was behind the plate for his first 2 starts. Today he gets the all-star JT Realmuto to work with. Now 3 balls and a strike to Mason Williams. Would you have done what guys are doing now? I think it's a sponsored thing, right? Is it Stitches? Stance.
Oh, the socks?
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Stitches are on the baseball. Would you have done like the funky looking socks?
I would I would occasionally. It wouldn't be a staple. You wouldn't think, like there would be like Oh, look, Holly's 0 for 12 with 6 strikeouts. He's got his socks up today. Yes, that would be me. Right there.
Gotcha.
Get him up. But not normally. That's not my, like, oh, hey, we're getting ready for the season. We need to, fit your uniform for you. No, my pants were at the tops of my shoes.
Gotcha. Tucker Barnhart, 2 on, 1 out. Out to right field for Galloway. Jeanette tags and bluffs from second base. And they're 2-away. So now it's Cody Reed hitting in the number 8 spot for the Cincinnati Reds under their interim manager Jim Riggleman. Reds are 62 and 73 under Riggleman. Whether or not he is around for the 2019 season still remains to be seen. Another instance of a mid-year managerial change in St. Louis, for example. Mike Schilt was the interim manager, has already been given the full-time job. That has not been the case in Cincinnati. Not to say that he won't wind up with it, but maybe go through an entire search.
Right. Certainly sounds like it. They think very highly of him and the job that he has done and how his players have responded this season. Riggs is a good man. He's been around the game a long time. He's done good work in multiple organizations. Everything that I have been told is that, again, think very highly of him, but they're not going to do the Cardinal thing quite yet. They're going to do a bit more of a process.
2 balls and no strikes to the pitcher Cody Reed, who takes a called strike 1. Again, 11 games under 500 under Jim Riggleman, but they did have that good 2-month run. June and July, they were 6 games over 500.
Now, it's not the offense that's been the issue for the Reds on the whole this season, although everybody goes through ups and downs. It's the pitching. It's like a lot of the Marlins, you look at the team numbers and they kind of hang out in a lot of the same areas, not offensively, but on the pitching side of things. Cody Reed, 0 for 21 in his career. Trying to go 0 for 22.
Just got a piece of that one to stay alive, so still 2 balls and 2 strikes. A couple of walks in this inning for Brigham. The first base runners allowed. Cut on and missed, and that's his 3rd strikeout. Strands a pair. Scoreless here in Miami. Jason Kipnis knew it as soon as he hit it. A walk-off in Cleveland. Now, the Indians already know that they're headed to the postseason. They've already had their divisional winning celebration. But these still have to feel good, right?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, you want to keep that vibe, everything moving in the right direction. We were talking about this last week. Yeah, they got a little bit bigger period of time to get ready for the postseason. But the point is, and I know, when it comes to the pitches, it's about work. But when it's the players, there's so much more that goes into it. It's the work, it's the result, it's the emotion. And when you can duplicate that right there, that keeps everybody on edge.
This is the American League playoff picture. Red Sox can clinch the American League East with a win over the Yankees tonight. They currently lead that one 1-0. The Indians have already wrapped up their division. The Astros holding off the A's. 3.5 games separate those two teams, and it's between the Yankees and the Oakland A's for that wild card right now. And I guess, unfortunately, as a selfish baseball fan, I say this, it's kind of been wrapped up like that for months. It hasn't been all that exciting in that sense. This is Brinson lining one to left field, and getting back is Williams on the edge of the track for the first out.
Well, it certainly has not. It's not like the National League, though. The National League has done more than its fair share of making up for that lack of interest that you've placed in the American League, I believe.
Right.
Yeah. You've got races all over the place. You've got individual races, you've got MVP races, Cy Young races, you've got team races. I mean, all sorts of crazy stuff going on in the National League this year.
Right. Lots of fun stuff. The Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. Since the 2015 season, Marlins lead the season series 15-9 against the Reds as Isaac Galloway takes a strike. And this year they are 2-1 with those games being played at Great American Ballpark. Nothing in 2-2. Galloway, who gets the start in right. 3 homers and 6 RBIs for Isaac. Was set down on 3 pitches for the second strikeout of the night for Reed. 2 away.
Yeah, both strikeouts on the slider. Look at the numbers against his 4-seam fastball and his changeup. Through the roof. Both pitches well above 400. The slider 164. That's in part why he has been using it so much.
It's interesting. That was his first hit last year, his first big league hit, and then his first hit this year was the inside the park home run in San Diego. I don't know what he's got in store for next year, but tune in. 9 homers, 36 RBIs for him, and over his last 5 games, 6 for 18 with 2 doubles and 3 RBIs.
Yeah, maybe he'll pull an Ian Happ, hit the first pitch he sees into the upper deck.
There you go. How this whole thing started this year.
That's right. Nice job by JT, hanging in there, fighting off the sliders. Now the Reds come in 65-88, 23 games under 500. They've struggled on the road, 49-48. They've also struggled in their division. They started the season 8-27. Changed their manager.
Right back to Reed, and a 1-2-3 inning. Quick one into second for Reed. Scoreless. presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. You believe it? This is the last series of the regular season here at Marlins Park. You know, we were joking about it a little bit with the home run for Happ. It really feels like opening day was yesterday.
Well, it has. It's gone rather quickly. Although the Cincinnati Reds, I was thinking about this as I was coming in today. You know, played the Reds in early May, and you know, now just seeing them again kind of explains the baseball season, at least for fans. It certainly should. Here you are, the last homestand, finally getting to see them. We played them way back in May.
That's right. Billy Hamilton to lead things off. Doesn't go around, and it's a ball and no strikes. Hamilton also hitless in his last 14 at-bats. Got a couple of cold Reds at this point in time. You're right. It's the way that this schedule all year long has been just kind of funky. I mean, we were done with the Cubs by what, May? I think it was on that same trip to Cincinnati, actually.
Correct.
So that was early May. Had the National League West wrapped up by the All-Star break. And yet there are the Reds lingering. Last home season series of the season. 2-1. Hamilton takes away.
Well, Billy Hamilton making his 101st start this season out of the 9th spot in the lineup. It's most Major League Baseball seems to be the ideal player for the 9th spot in the lineup. Base percentage just a tick below 300. Plenty of speed. And prototypes as a second leadoff hitter. Just because he doesn't get on base enough.
Well, he gets on base there with the third walk issued by Brigham. And Scott Schebler, who struck out back in the first. Got to watch it with Hamilton. He's got 31 stolen bases, which leads the team. Doesn't go there. And it's a ball and no strikes to Schebler.
Well, JT Realmuto has caught 19 of 49 base runners this season, 39%.
And out to the mound goes JT. Well, 40 pitches and 18 strikes for Brigham. And harkening back a little bit with the 3 walks in the first 2+ innings to that first start. Now, one of the things, again, in talking with Chad Wallach, who caught him the first 2 starts, was in his last, he said he wasn't perfect, but he was closer to what we've seen most of the year, and he really didn't have a slider that day. And Chad told me that that was kind of a good sign that he was able to battle and pitch even though he didn't really have his best stuff. Hamilton goes as Schebler fouls it back. Now tonight, certainly a bit of a different story, where he's been a lot more erratic tonight than in New York.
Keep an eye on Hamilton. might be going. I'm thinking the same thing.
Now, unless Hamilton really gets busy these last inside of 2 weeks here, 40 straight 50 stolen base seasons, 4 straight rather, 50 stolen base seasons for Billy Hamilton, just the 31. He's on the move. JT's throw is into center field, and Hamilton is going to move up to third.
Well, he got a pretty good jump, about a 4-step lead. You see him peek back. JT, the throw meets him at the exact same time. You see Riddle almost do the catch tag as Hamilton slides in. He catches it. He's probably out. Ball makes its way into center field. Hamilton on his way to third base. Not an easy play.
So it's a stolen base and an error as Schebler draws the walk. So with runners on first and third, that'll bring up Jose Peraza, flew out to right field in his first trip. That's ball one.
Now, Peraza's having himself a pretty special season. You kind of mentioned it, how he's improved. Obviously, the numbers across the board: 174 hits. Shortstops in the National League, 31 doubles, 13 homers, 23 stolen base. I mean, an all-around solid season. He's the only Red not to make the All-Star team from their starting infield with those numbers.
Out to right. Galloway comes in, gets ahead of steam. Here comes Hamilton, and he will be right where he was at the start of that little sequence. He doesn't move. Nice job by Galloway to keep him at third.
Well, Hamilton, probably under some maybe different circumstances, may have tested the arm of Galloway on the short fly ball to right, but because it's the first out of the inning, Hamilton plays it safe. Isaac does a nice job getting some momentum. Let's throw that ball somewhat straight down, and it was very much on line, though. JT waiting at home for the throw.
So now it's Joey Votto, and these are the situations that people sometimes question, right? Like, just get the ball, put it in the air, get a fly ball, and get a run scored, or an RBI in his case. Sometimes, from what you see and hear on Votto, is that he's not going to expand his zone just to get the fly ball. Like, he's got his approach and his plan, and he's going to do it whether it drives in the run or not.
Right.
Just 67 RBIs on the season for Votto.
Well, it's so interesting. You know, you're right. People around the game, you'll even hear players talk about this sometimes. You know, his approach, how it works. Look at the numbers: 339 this season with runners in scoring position. I guess for me, you know, the one thing that I just don't hear enough of when it comes to Joey Votto, it's not that he's so patient. I see a lot of this guy in the Central for a lot of years. It's that he fouls off pitchers' pitches better than anybody in the game of baseball. He extends bats, he fights, he scraps, and he battles. That's who he is. People have this idea that it's like he walks into the box and he's thinking, all right, I'm going to walk. There's a runner on third, less than one out, because maybe he's not going to pitch to me right here. Now listen, he's got very good hand-eye coordination. He knows the strike zone as well as anybody, but it's his defense of the strike zone, at least in my mind, that has always been a bit more of the story.
Unable to hold up and rung up on strikes by the third base umpire, Ben May. So the second time that Votto has struck out tonight.
Now he's really handcuffed Votto with the 94, 95 mile an hour fastball, two-seam, running back to the plate. Starting it on that inside corner. Two at-bats, two strikeouts. I'll tell you, Votto came in 9 for 21 his last few ball games.
And now it's Scooter Gennett. Walk back in the second inning. 4 walks, but also 4 strikeouts for Brigham. That one misses a little high. 1-0. Gennett with 176 hits. That's 3rd in the National League. Looking up at Freddie Freeman, who's got 182. He's not going to find one here, or will he? Long run back, and Dean can't make the play. That will score 2 on the double by Gennett.
Well, after getting the first 2 outs with runners on first and third, and getting out of this 3rd inning jam, Scooter Gennett makes him pay. It's what the Cincinnati Reds do. They can score some runs. A long drive off the bat of Gennett.
So a 2 RBI double by the All-Star Gennett, and it's a 2-0 deficit for the Marlins as Suarez takes strike 1. '30th double this year for Scooter Gennett.
Suarez hitless in his last 15 at-bats.
Fouled away, 1-2. Two walks in this inning come back to haunt Brigham. He worked around 2 walks in the second. Inside, and Suarez got out of the way of that one, so it's 2-2.
Stands him up.
A base hit into right field, and being held at third is Gennett. Base hit for Suarez to snap an 0 for 15, and the Reds have runners on the corners.
Yeah, a rocket off the bat of Suarez. Got a fastball up in the zone and drifted into right. Back on the corners here with 2 outs. A little meeting on the mound as Juan Nieves makes his way out. Marlins infield. Had really no chance to score. Ball hit too hard. Don Mattingly's going to get to manage Suarez. Major League team that's going on over to Japan in November.
That'll be fun. It was announced last week, I believe. Don Mattingly will manage that club.
November 8th through the 15th. They're going to go over to Japan, play the Japanese All-Star Series. Eugenio Suarez will be sitting right next to him on the plane. Maybe.
Or close enough. Yeah. Sure. And the major leaguers will be looking for more success this time around.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about that.
There were no hit in one of the games last.
Well, you stop playing for a month and then you kind of pick it back up. And I was talking to Freddie Gonzalez, Marlins third base coach, who's going with Don Mattingly. He said to me today, he says, "Yeah, we're heading over to Japan and we're going to stop off in Hawaii."
Oh,
I said, "Oh, really?" And then you're going to go plan on going over to Japan and
need a
winning a bunch of baseball games.
You need a broadcaster or two, like.
I can work a Hawaii
Freddie.
stop into my life.
That's right.
I mean, if the manager gets to pick his staff, we kind of have the inside track, Holly.
On the booth, you mean?
Yeah. Swung on and tipped in the glove of Real Muto, so it's 0-2 to Mason Williams, who walked in the second. Brigham with 28 pitches in this inning is up to 61. One-two pitch. Suarez goes, lined into right. Galloway is there to make the catch. Reds score 2 in the inning on the Jeanette 2-run double. Vini, a 2-0 deficit for the Marlins, as Jeff Brigham will lead things off. 9-1-2 for Miami. It's Brigham and then Rojas and Castro against Cody Reed. One low for ball 1 to Brigham, who has a hit and a run scored thus far this season.
He can swing that bat a little bit. He's hit 500 on the season.
Dig it.
Too many people that are hitting 500 here at the end.
I tell you what, there's still time for our pop out video folks. I had a 500 shooting percentage in high school from the floor.
Right.
Hoops.
He's never missed.
I too was 1 for 2.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You knew when to stop. The key.
Quit while you're ahead. Leave them wanting more.
Right. I don't know why Ian Happ even played this year. Just shut her down. 1,000 home run. Boom. It's all one pitch.
That's right.
Perfect season.
That's right.
Immaculate season.
Let's check in with Craig.
We're going to talk some numbers, but more on hitting at home and on the road. The Marlins as a ball club this year, guys, have hit 4 points better on the road than home. Their production has been better on the road as well. But some guys have done quite well here in the confines of Marlins Park. You see Miguel Rojas stepping in here, much better at home, although 7 of his homers on the road of the 11. Brian Anderson is better earlier at home. He's slightly better on the road, but he has hit 7 of his 10 homers here at home. Castro pretty consistent. 7 of his 12 homers here at home, and then you saw Brinson much better at home. As far as the road cooking goes, there are some dramatic numbers. JT Realmuto's hitting 30 points plus, 33 points better on the road. Dietrich better, and Riddle much better as well. And JT's hit 13 homers on the road of his 21, which you'd expect when you look at the numbers in this ballpark. But hopefully the Marlins' offense can match what they've done pitching-wise, and that is be even better next year offensively at home.
Thank you, Craig DeGeorge. Appreciate it. There you go. See? You're not exempt from the pop-out videos.
Nice haircut, Greg.
Thank you very much. That was my wrestling name.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, of course.
Which is actually my mother's maiden name. That's where I came up with that.
Right.
Did you guys ever change your name?
Nice haircut, George.
Thank you. Thank you, Holly. Holly would have made a good wrestler. The question is, Paul, would he have been what they call a baby face or a heel?
He would be a heel, and he would be...
The heel's the the bad guy.
From Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
With the number cruncher.
That's what you'd be.
I could picture him in one of the full piece, the Andre the Giant type tight.
That's right, biting some guy's
the
forearm, right?
The one thing over the right shoulder. And
George the Animal Steel. He'd
nice
be
snug
ripping
fit.
turnbuckles off left and right. All right, Craig, appreciate it. Thanks so much. 1 on and 1 out for Starlin Castro after the hit by pitch of Rojas. Strikeout in his first at bat. And a base hit in his second. So the Marlins have 2 on 1 out in the third. And the right part of their lineup coming up, trailing by a couple.
First hit of the ball game for Starlin Castro. How about a at-bat to at-bat adjustment? Nice job here. Think back to that first at-bat. Starlin Castro saw all of 3 pitches, a couple of sliders, and struck out. Got a slider there and ripped it into left. Kind of explains big league hitting if you really think about it. Show him the pitch too many times in a row. Even a big league hitter will make an adjustment, whether it's velocity or not. Got a better feel for the release point, how he sees it.
0-1 to Realmuto, who reached on a fielder's choice back in the first. And I think that's what makes watching Castro so much fun, certainly throughout the season has made it so much fun, is he is such a professional hitter. I don't want to say that he sets pitchers up, but he definitely knows what he's doing.
I will say this:
at-bat.
I've been around Starlin his entire career. Starlin pays, he is very well aware of how he's getting pitched and how they're trying to get him out. And I think maybe the last 2 at-bats really do explain that. If you watch him.
Chop to third, picked by Suarez. They get the 1. JT beats it out. Another fielder's choice. Runners on the corners.
Yeah, you watch Starlin throughout his career. He's making his way off the field now. Runners on first and third. A couple outs. It's a special day for him. In fact, Starlin Castro showed up in Cincinnati, hit a home run, 3-run home run to right field in Cincinnati. I mean, everybody in Cubs Nation was going nuts. Starlin Castro had arrived, and the new best shortstop in the National League was on hand. It's a big day for him. I remember it vividly. But Starlin makes in-game adjustments. That's where I was really going with that. The idea that he picks up on how he's being pitched and will begin to look for pitches in those spots.
Nothing in 1 to Peter O'Brien, who had a base hit back in the first inning. And one thing we saw at the top of the order for the Marlins that first time around against Cody Reed was hard contact. The first 4 guys that put the ball in play, all of the exit velocities over 100 miles an hour. Now it's just a matter of trying to do something with it. A Hialeah kid, Peter O'Brien, swung on and missed. And Reed gets the strikeout. That's his 4th. Marlins strand 2.
when we celebrate Miami's diversity this Saturday. Purchase a ticket package to receive an exclusive t-shirt and enjoy post-game entertainment by Gio Beta, a tribute to Mark Anthony in the fifth base, presented by Corona Light. Purchase your tickets at marlins.com/heritage celebration.
Back for the top of the fourth. A 2-0 deficit for the Marlins, as Tucker Barnhart leads things off against Jeff Brigham. First pitch is fouled back to the screen. 7, 8, 9 for the Reds. Barnhart, Reed, Hamilton. Brigham thus far has been, as they say, dancing through the raindrops. 4 walks, a couple of hits. Does have the 4 strikeouts, and certainly a 2-run deficit is surmountable if you're the Marlins. Here's the 0-2. Fly ball out to right field, the first trip for Barnhart. Reds are 2 for 7. Yes, they've already had 7 at-bats with runners in scoring position in this game. They were 2 for their last 58 with runners in scoring position on the road coming into this ball. So they seem to be breaking out of that road risp funk, if you will.
Well said.
Yes. Slowly is the best way to go about it.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy-saving expert. Go to fpl.com/beattheheat.
One away on the strikeout. Now the pitcher, Cody Reed.
Now, in a lot of ways, what the Reds have been dealing with this year, and I kind of hinted at this at the beginning of the ball game. You know, the Reds, they're in their pitching. It's not very good. They've got issues. You look, they're bottom 5 in most things they do. Their bullpen's a little bit better, but their pitching has really struggled this season. But they do deal with, you know, as Craig was just breaking down, you know, you're talking home and road batting averages. Well, for the Cincinnati Reds, it's the opposite in a lot of ways.
Right.
They hit very well in Cincinnati. It's a good hitter's park. Home runs, ball flies out a little bit more. And then they go on the road, and they, at times, take a little bit of a step back. Interestingly enough, they average a run less on the road than they do at home. I think most people around baseball really do get that. They hit in a, we would call a hitter's ballpark.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Brigham here in the fourth.
Now, both strikeouts this inning on the breaking ball as he starts to incorporate that into the game plan.
Well, that's the pitch that Chad Wallach said didn't really have great control of last time out. But on the backdoor slider gets Reed for out number 2. You know, Charlie, it's a yacker, a bender, a deuce, a hook sometimes. As that'll reach the seats.
10 people right there. We're swarming, ready to catch it. And as the ball got about 5 feet from hitting, everybody just spread out and got out of the way and hit the ground. The enthusiasm initially started. I was very optimistic that somebody was going to make a great catch.
Right, but then the heartbeat starts.
That's right, and everybody just scattered. Get out of the way.
It goes boom, 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 and then
right.
you get it out of the way.
Ball hit the step and bounced about 20 feet in the air.
Hamilton out to center for Brinson. And a 1-2-3 inning for Brigham in the fourth. Nice bounce back. Marlins down 2. transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic trusts the #1 hospital in Miami, Fort Lauderdale with your care. And by La Lechonera, the original Mojo since 1970. Good look down at Marlins Park on a nice night in South Florida. 4 more home games, or 3.5 or so. As Austin Dean will lead things off, Lewis Brinson and Isaac Galloway to follow. Marlins have left 4 runners on base so far tonight, 2 in the first and 2 in the third. The ball to Dean, 2-0. Grounded out to end the first inning. Left side, Suarez able to make the play, spins and throws a strike to get Dean for out #1. Tomorrow night, South Florida Honda dealers present Marlins Live, the pregame show. Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutton, Jeff Nelson live from center field. The final Friday at Marlins Park. Luis Castillo and Wei-Yin Chen are the 2 starting pitchers. Castillo, of course, a former Marlins farmhand. Had a chance to see him. Brinson in the air, center field. Hamilton moving back, still back, all the way out of the track, will make the catch. Like he was sizing that one up.
Enough, right? This thing's a little different in center field. He's got speed to burn. He can kind of play a ball straight over his head. Like, I never could do what he just did right there as far as that route is concerned.
Right.
Because I couldn't look over my head that way. And he trusts his instincts, boy. Guess when you're that fast, you can do that.
That's right. And he's only been an everyday center fielder for 5 years or so. Came up as an infielder. Chop to short. And a 6-pitch inning. 2-0. Welcome back. Top of the 5th on the way. A 2-0 deficit for Don Mattingly's Marlins. It's a pop-out video night here on Fox Sports Florida. And Don Mattingly, I'm sure, still getting the residuals from that, or at least I hope he is. You were a Simpsons guy growing up?
I was not.
You know what? Neither was I. That's not to say that it's not a good show, but it's like anybody who was a kid around the 90s-ish, was into it. I never really got into it. Scott Schebler base hit through the right side. On to start the 5th. I believe that episode that had, Donnie and Wade Boggs and a host of big leaguers. Darryl Strawberry just turned 25. Is that what it was? 25 years old, 20 years old, 25.
Yeah, I remember the episode. I mean, it was widely discussed throughout, Major League Baseball. It was coming out, and certainly Simpson's very popular at the time, so it was a very big deal. Never really got around to watching the whole episode. I don't know why.
Yeah. Jose Peraza. A couple of fly balls out to Galloway and right tonight, 0 for 2. This one out to center. Brinson is there. Geico presents this day in Marlins history. September 20th, 2006. Dontrelle Willis with a couple of home runs in a 6-3 win over the Mets at Shea Stadium. The only Marlins pitcher with 2 homers in a game against the Mets. He was 3 for 4 that day. Oh, and he pitched too. 8 1/3 innings. 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 3 earned runs. Votto fouls it off. Couple of strikeouts from Votto tonight. Where would Dontrelle Willis rank in terms of best hitting pitchers you played with?
Well, I was only with him for 1 year, and I was actually just getting ready to mention this. In 03, I mean, he took the National League by storm that year as well, and what people fell in love with, obviously his windup and his delivery and his ability to win and pitch, but we all knew he was a crazy good athlete. I was just sitting here reminding myself at the time I went up to him and said, "Hey Dontrelle, stop it, you're embarrassing us." And what I was referring to was the hitters,
right?
And he was making it look easy. He's the guy who stepped in there and said, "Oh, these guys are throwing cookies over the middle of the plate." I mean, you made that mistake, he was going to make you pay. He could swing the bat.
Votto with a fly ball. Left center field, and it's Dean. 2 away. So with 1 on and 2 out, that'll bring up Scooter Gennett. A walk and a 2 RBI double in the 3rd.
I mean, that is a great story right there. We just told you.
The Muppets got
Well,
you.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Because he's being chased by the police. He's answering to the police officers, and in his mind, he kind of reflects back to the Muppets and says, "I'm going to go with Scooter." You know what I mean? Like, the two, it's just like, what hard crime could he possibly be doing at the time where he's getting stopped by cops? I guess is what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking Grand Theft Auto here, and he's dropping scooter bombs.
Right. He was a kid, so who knows?
Well, that's what I mean,
throwing
right?
rocks at cars or something like that.
I mean, it could be anything. I don't know. I'm just kind of kidding, but that's kind of where my mind was on it. I was like, that's what came to his mind.
There's a strike, 2-1. StatCast AI is powered by AWS, the distribution of balls in play on the ground for Scooter Gennett, who's now at 318 after the double. Just a shade off of Christian Yelich for the NL batting crown. On the ground, Castro backhands and gets Gennett. So a leadoff single stranded, 2-0. Time for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight, and a number of congratulations to go around as the Marlins announced their minor league awards yesterday. Nick Neidert, the Pitcher of the Year. Austin Dean, the Minor League Player of the Year. Walner Espinal, the Student of the Year, and Bruce Walton, the Staff Member of the Year. So again, a congratulations around to everyone who won an award, including some of the guys who won awards today, or at least were presented with their awards today. And we'll have some of the award winners here tomorrow as well, and Craig will have a chance to chit-chat with them during the game.
You talking about DeGeorge?
Yes.
Yes. DeGeorge will be doing it?
Yes, that's right. Andre Fernandez gave the Charlie Huff Good Guy Award to Lewis Brinson, the Jeff Conine Mr. Marlin Award to Miguel Rojas. Brian Anderson took home the Rookie of the Year, and JT Realmuto the Most Valuable Player for the Marlins this year.
Good stuff. Okay, well, I feel the need to clean up something on Scooter Gennett. Now, I've been finally told the entire story. So I was alluding to, you know, him being chased by cops for stealing a bike, or I don't know, a variety of, you know, any kind of childhood mischievous things. That was the whole story. The whole story was that his mother had actually taken him to the police station because I believe he was refusing to wear his seatbelt enough, and she was trying to scare him into wearing the seatbelt. It worked.
So no crimes.
No crimes. It's kind of where I wanted to go with it, but it's just not, you know, I'm not right for doing that.
Well,
Scooter, you're good.
Never let facts get in the way of a good story.
Well, it's like I said, when I was sitting there thinking about it, I was like, I mean, did we take a bike?
Right.
You know, could be anything.
2-2 to JT Riddle. Swung on and missed for strike 3. That's the 5th strikeout. There is action in the Marlins bullpen. Eliezer Hernandez is up and throwing. And Chris Bostic has moved into the on-deck circle, so that's going to do it for Brigham tonight.
And Bostic's going to go ahead and get the at-bat. 2 for 7 this season as a pinch hitter with an RBI.
So the final line for Brigham: 5 innings, 3 hits, a couple of runs, did have 4 walks, but 6 strikeouts. That one low and in toward the feet of Bostic, and it's 2-0. Well, a couple of guys in Reed and Brigham maybe not totally sure what to expect. And for Brigham, again, not as sharp as we have heard the reports, but again, just finding ways to kind of get out somehow, some way, and get through 5.
Let's remember this. The young man is making his 3rd big league start. First one was erratic. Control was all over the plate. Well, he didn't even have it. No control. We saw a lot of pitches against the Toronto Blue Jays. Next start against the Mets. Improvement. Better. Had some moments tonight, but I guess the thing that you walk away from tonight is that I feel like he recovered better from a lot of those moments. Got himself through the 5 innings. Looked good. Picked up a few strikeouts along the way.
Another step in the right direction as Bostic is retired. Lowe's whole team together. Most pitchers used, the Atlanta Braves with 35, and I think 33 of them are like 19 years old or something crazy. They're very young in Atlanta as they close in on a National League East crown. The Cubs using 34 and the Reds with 32. And that's kind of been the unfortunate story with the Reds the last, well, we'll call it handful of years. They're using just a ton of pitchers. As Rojas grounds out, and Reed a 1-2-3 inning in the 5th. first of a 4-game set in the last home series of the year. Inside the broadcast booth, Paul Severino and Todd Hollandsworth. Been a fun night for us tonight. Marlins baseball pop-out video. So all throughout the evening, we've had little things. Very true. Very true, and very well done, by the way.
There's all sorts of facts in the blue here too, by the way. Jose Fernandez, Rookie of the Year award by Baseball Reference. I mean, you should read some of this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the pop-up. Oh, here we go. What do we got?
Yeah, we just had one.
That's right.
Yeah.
My beautiful spouse, my better half. Mrs. Marcy, I love you. That's how you win points.
Yeah, that's good. Now, you and Saltalamacchia, huh?
No, I think Salty's ahead of me. Salty's got 14, right?
Until I got you.
Until Salty, yeah. There's a moment in time where I faced, let's see, was it William Van Landingham in San Francisco. It's a big deal. I mean, I didn't know the whole last name, 13-letter was like, a thing. Base it into right field. The reason I bring it up, we went mano-a-mano in San Francisco, and that's like all everybody was talking about. Oh, Van Landingham versus Hollandsworth.
Right.
He's a pitcher, right, for the Giants. It's early on in my career. But it was the battle of the 13-letter last name. I mean, it was like in the paper the next day.
Like a deal. Yeah.
It was like a thing, and I thought that's just interesting to me. And
folks, if you think that anywhere else you're going to get words like thicket and Wenceslaus in your broadcast, it's only going to happen here. Saltalamacchia, did you see that? What was it, jumping over the thicket? That's Italian for jumping over the thicket.
You didn't know that?
No. Did not know that. I didn't know that somebody that we saw, King Wenceslaus II, in there too.
How do you feel your rookie season's gone? You like it?
I think it's fair to say I've had my ups and my downs.
Okay.
How does that sound? Is that fair?
You've done a fantastic job.
Yeah. Probably.
Fair question.
Well, if you'd seen the pop-up on me, yours was like, oh, his last name's 13 letters. Mine was a little different. Evidently, I like drawing in my free time. Fly ball out to left.
I have a hard time paying attention. You haven't realized that now?
What's that now?
You have not. Yeah, exactly. How many of those have you gotten this year?
I made a few.
100?
Yeah.
50,000?
An awful lot of times when I would say, oh, did you see what this guy did? You say, who? Like, all right, Ali's not
Locked in, man. I'm running numbers over here.
You are the number cruncher. I like it. Tucker Barnhart takes a little low from Eliezer Hernandez. Barnhart, a fly ball and a strikeout. 1 of 6 for Brigham, as that one is foul wide of first.
Oh, Mr. Baseball. State of Indiana. Tom Selleck was Mr. Baseball.
Yes, but a little further west. In all honesty, though, to finish the thought on how I think this year's going, I think we've had a lot of fun.
Good. I agree. Well, I was kind of being more specific to your rookie season. I mean,
right. Yeah, no.
Rookie hazing and whatnot. The season's not over yet, right?
No, I got it.
Just making sure.
Yeah. Fly ball out to right for out number 2.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy-saving expert. Go to fpl.com/beattheheat.
Tried to stay in my lane. Try to stay out of trouble. Didn't. I don't think it always happened. You live and you learn. You know what I mean?
A great first year. I think you're going to win Rookie of the Year.
Hey, I'll take it. By default or not, I will take it. Cody Reed, couple of strikeouts. And takes a strike at the bottom of the zone, 1-1.
Well,
Billy had 10 strikeouts in his last start in Chicago, and he's got 6 strikeouts through 5 innings of work tonight. Low, 3-1. Great shots of our crew that have had a fun year with us here as Reed walks. Two on and 2 out here in the 6th.
That'll bring up Speedy Mr. Hamilton. Walked in the 3rd, stole 2nd, moved up to 3rd on the throw. Came around to score one of the 2 runs for the Reds.
Oh,
nice catch. That's what I'm talking about.
You just want the fans to be a little bit more aggressive, a little more take charge.
I saw a glove come out and just made a great catch, reached across a couple of people and snatched it. I mean, it's just like the opposite of what we saw an inning ago.
Yeah. The 0-1 to Billy. Hamilton is in there for a called strike, 0-2. Hamilton lined out his last time up, walked in the 3rd, stole 2nd, and came around to score on the Jeanette double. They'll check over 3rd. Ben May says no swing, ball and 2 strikes. On the ground to Rojas, who will get to the 3rd base bag for the final out. The Marlins strand a couple of Reds and trail this one by 2. As we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, Starlin Castro to lead things off. JT Realmuto and Peter O'Brien. Pop-out video night here on Fox Sports Florida. Lots of different factoids and tidbits cycling through the evening here. I will say I've learned quite a bit throughout the night.
I didn't know you played an instrument.
Saxophone in 7th grade.
I thought you played the guitar.
Nope. Nope.
Sure?
I am not skilled with that.
Are you an artist?
Some would say not at all. And never the two shall meet again.
Are you a big fan of the guitar?
I do. I will say, if I were to wake up tomorrow with a skill, having to not work at it, I would like to wake up tomorrow morning knowing how to play the guitar.
There you go. Doesn't surprise me.
Right.
I see you around here drawing guitars all the time.
Well, quit that a long time ago. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them, Holly.
Okay, Kenny.
That's right. It's a base hit for Starlin Castro. His 2nd hit of the game. A multi-hit effort for Starlin tonight.
Well, after that first pitch, or excuse me, that first at bat, he's been locked in. It's a fastball here. Proved to Reed he can handle the slider, so he goes back with the heater and lines it back up through the middle. 108 miles an hour off the bat. It's a couple more hits for Starlin Castro.
So now it's JT Realmuto, 3rd time around against a guy who doesn't have many starts under his belt. You've seen Castro in his 2nd and 3rd looks get a hit. Marlins are only down by 2, even though it feels like maybe it's a little bit more, or at least that they haven't had many chances against Reed.
Well, and I think it's the pace of the innings. It's really how it's gone. The Reds have had some traffic on the bases. Marlins are now just kind of getting in gear right here in the 6th inning. The reason I say it is that their innings have just been a little bit quicker. Reed's only had 64 pitches here in the 6th.
But the Marlins have the tying runs aboard with nobody out. And just now, a little bit of action in the Reds bullpen. A very efficient 64 pitches. Hernandez up for Cincinnati. And the interim pitching coach, Danny Darwin, out to talk with Cody Reed. Darwin was part of the change over when the managerial move was made earlier this season. Jim Riggleman was the bench coach, and Pat Kelly now the bench coach, former Louisville manager, and Danny Darwin came up from Pensacola to take over the pitching staff. Here's Peter O'Brien, a single and a strikeout for him tonight.
A golden opportunity for the Marlins right here. Their hottest hitter with ducks on the pond.
To 3rd, Suarez to Jeanette and over to Votto. So a double play as Castro moves to 3rd. And just like that, 2 outs in the inning.
Well, it's been that kind of night. I guess maybe the best way to describe what we were just talking about a couple minutes ago is this. A number of times we've seen Cincinnati Reds, well, I should say Reed, able to make a pitch. The reason I bring it up, I mean, we've talked exit velocity a number of times tonight. In fact, I know that O'Brien hit that ball very hard right there, just right at the Cincinnati Reds defense.
So now it's Austin Dean. Couple of ground outs. And he takes a called strike. think you mentioned the numbers earlier for Reed as a starter in his career. Coming into this one, 0-9 with a 7.44 ERA. Much more effective out of the bullpen. Many more chances, too, however. A 1.98 ERA. But the last couple of times out for Reed has certainly looked like a starting pitcher.
He's resequenced a little bit. Now, he's made starts over 3 seasons, but, kind of went at it a little bit more traditionally. What I mean by that is you've seen 94, 95 out of his hand tonight. Would start those games, and I went back and looked up some of the stuff. Was coming in 94, 95, then work in the slider, work in the change, right? We talk about this stuff all the time. Well, I think over his last couple of starts, and including tonight, a lot more off speed early in the game. That's really what it kind of got down to, was that he wasn't able to get to his slider enough. It is his best pitch by far. And you look at what he's done, he's pounding the strike zone tonight. 50 of 70.
Into center, Hamilton is there. Marlins had 2 on to lead off the inning, but a double play and a fly out, and they trail it 2-0.
We are inviting residents of Pinecrest to come enjoy an evening at the ballpark on Sunday. South Miami and Westchester are invited to celebrate their community. For more information, visit marlins.com/neighborhood.
Top of the 7th, Marlins trailing 2-0. First of a 4-game series against the Cincinnati Reds. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, Craig Minervini with you. Glad you're with us on a Thursday night as Eliezer Hernandez out for his second inning of work and a called strike to the top of the order. Scott Schebler, Jose Peraza, and Joey Votto. I'm sure he's not the only one. Schebler a strikeout, a walk and a run scored, and a single back in the 5th. In the dirt, ball and 2 strikes. Now for Eliezer Hernandez, as it will be the case for a lot of different guys, these either last couple of weeks will help determine kind of where it starts next year in spring. But from what you've seen from Hernandez out of the bullpen in the rotation, where do you think Juan Nieves, Don Mattingly, Michael Hill, where do you think it may start in 2019 for Hernandez?
Well, my guess is that he's really done a nice job as that swing man. Has to at times make a spot start here or there. I also think it helps his stuff play up a little bit more. Of course, it's very early in his journey, and I think that's probably a fair assessment. Not that there could potentially be more in his future, but for now, I think that's probably where it would be.
That's Brinson in right center for the first out.
Well, his numbers this year, this is your thing. I told you, you don't get to remove stuff. But if you remember back, he had an appearance, a start. You know, he just, I think it was 8 earned. I mean, it's kind of messed up everything all season long. Whether it's the reliever numbers, the starter numbers, it's kind of played itself out that way. And I feel like he's pitched much better than the ERA.
And in on Peraza. 2 balls and no strikes. Peraza's 0 for 3 tonight. Four hits for the Reds, but a big 2-run double for Scooter Gennett back in the 3rd. And a base hit through the left side for Peraza. That's hit number 175 for him on the season. He's chasing Barry Larkin, who had 185 hits. That was the most by a Reds shortstop, the Hall of Famer. So with still 9-10 games left, a chance to catch Barry Larkin.
Now there's some big games going on around baseball tonight. Shorter schedule than normal. Line drive out to right off the bat of Votto. Out number 2 here in the 7th. Bottom of the 4th. Boston Red Sox currently up 4-2 over the Yankees. Philadelphia Phillies, we talked about this. Braves and Phillies are going to play 7 times from this point to the end of the season. Now underway. Philadelphia Phillies are winning 3-2 in Atlanta. Phillies trailing the Braves by 5.5. And the Oakland Raiders beat the Los Angeles Rams 21-3.
Which is shocking too, because the Rams have a very potent offense.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's a baseball score. Oh, the Oakland A's 21. And the Angels 3. My bad. Well, this nugget just handed to me. I think we're going to see him next week in D.C. Max Scherzer going tonight. 11 more strikeouts through 6 innings.
Have you changed your tune at all?
No, not really.
Yeah, no, neither have
I could, though, next week if he gets to a number. He's at 288 punch-outs on the season. Wow. Yeah, listen, there's some points to be earned on the 300.
Gennett out to right and into the upper deck. A 2-run double and a 2-run homer. Scooter Gennett and the Reds 4-0.
Now, Scooter has figured out a few things here with the Cincinnati Reds, not just the fact that he's hanging in there trying to win a batting title. He can also hit for power. First 2 seasons with the Reds has now hit 50 home runs. That was number 50 with the Reds. Short, compact swing. Those hands don't move a whole lot, but he has a high leg kick. Gets that front foot down and on time. He's going upper deck for hit number 2 tonight. Driven in all 4 runs.
And now Suarez out to right field for Galloway. 2 more ribbies for Gennett and a 4-0 deficit. got a 2-run double and a 2-run home run here as we welcome you back inside the broadcast booth. Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth, thanks a lot for joining us tonight. Hope you've enjoyed our Marlins pop-out video night, some different factoids and tidbits. That's very true. That's right, John Anik, a buddy of mine. Boy, oh boy, I tell you what, our crew listens. They take notes.
Wow, that is really cool.
Yeah.
You know my problem is?
Oh, let's hear it, pal.
That's awesome.
You know what I got an issue.
Well, no, I'm caught up with all of this. There's tons of information on our blue backdrop tonight.
Right.
Well, every time we put this on, I get caught reading it.
Whoa.
You guys are like, see what's going on with the pop out, and I'm like, no, I'm reading the facts.
Right, but I would imagine that our crew, smart enough to do all this work, would have also put those into the little.
Well, they have. They know where my attention goes, right? You know, I'm like that guy, you know.
Yeah. So there you go. This is the monitor behind us, but you can see all the different things.
This is where.
Press pause on your DVR for a second.
Don't get hung up like me.
Right.
I love those types of facts. You know that about me. I mean, I get caught up in all this stuff all the time, especially when it's baseball related, and I'm like, look, and it's just like I can't stop myself.
Sorry. Give me the attention span of a gerbil sometimes.
Well, when it comes to baseball.
New pitcher is David Hernandez. It's like the Festivus airing of grievances, how you started that one. You know what I got a problem with.
Wait, what? That's right. They can't keep, listen. You can't keep giving me these facts and expect me to keep paying attention.
I know.
What do you want?
Just everything's a test. Just testing. Testing to see if you can stay on task or not.
Huh?
Clearly you can. 3-1 to Brinson is in there for a called strike right on the outside corner. Brinson 0 for 2. Looked up to Juan Pierre and wears his number 9. Brinson, Peter O'Brien, a couple of local kids playing for their favorite team when they were growing up, and now Brinson is aboard. No walks and 6 strikeouts for Cody Reed, and the first batter that Hernandez faces draws the free pass. Rafael Ortega will take the at-bat here for Isaac Galloway.
Ortega's going to go ahead and get the pitch hit opportunity. 0 for 4 in his 2018 season. His career does have 5 hits, 5 for 14.
Tell you what, Hernandez really works from the extreme first base side of the rubber.
Well, that could explain the 170 cut fastballs he's thrown this season. About 19% of the time, you see it in 86-mile-an-hour range. That's a good changeup as well. His 4-seam fastball, it sits at 94.
Smack foul by Ortega, 0-2. Reds are out hitting the Marlins 6-5, but Jeanette's 2 big hits, a 2-run double and a 2-run homer. Cincinnati up by 4 in the all-important run column. You mentioned the out-of-town scores, and again, if Boston holds on, they've got a 4-2 lead right now. They can win. Check that 4-3. Now Aaron Hicks just drew a bases loaded walk, so that's a 4-3 game. But if the Red Sox hold on, they can win their division tonight. Indians already have. Amir Garrett up for the Reds. Ortega pops this one up near the dugout, and that will reach the seats. Saw Tayron Guerrero up in the Marlins bullpen, so it might be just the 2 innings of work for Eliezer Hernandez. Marlins would like to do something with the leadoff base runner. They've had it in 3 of the innings tonight, but again, nothing to show for it in the run column. Their best chance was last inning. Castro was single, Real Muto was single, and then O'Brien grounded into the double play. Dean flew out. On the ground to short. There's one. And Ortega is doubled up. Let's check in with Craig.
Thank you, Paul. JT Riddle coming up. He grew up in Central Kentucky. His first love was not baseball, it was actually basketball. He was a 6'2" slasher scorer type. He told me he was in the top 10 in scoring his senior year, which is saying something, in Kentucky. However, because he committed to a baseball scholarship at Kentucky, which his coach told the would-be recruiters, he did not get any major D1 interest. Cincinnati looked at him, Wright State looked at him, Akron looked at him as well. I asked him today if he was a Reds fan growing up. He said nope. He said he was a Braves fan watching the Braves games on TBS. He said Northern Kentucky, pretty much all Reds fans. He grew up in Central Kentucky, but still only a couple hours away, or a little less than that, to Cincinnati. And he did go to a couple of games. But when the Reds played the Braves, that's when he usually went to a game in Cincinnati, guys.
Yeah, favorite player growing up, Chipper Jones. I did not know that. That was a factoid that Craig Minervini is the unofficial mayor of Marlins Park.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that it was so unofficially official.
Well, it's unofficial. He's actually the unofficial mayor of South Florida, not just Marlins Park.
Huh.
I've never met anybody who knows
More.
more.
He's always got a guy.
Well, you're right. He's got a guy who knows everything. He gets rides from everybody. Everybody drives him around.
Tomorrow, Luis Castillo gets the ball for the Cincinnati Reds, and Wei-Yin Chen is on the mound for the Marlins. Of course, we've talked an awful lot about the successes of Chen at home, so his last crack at a Marlins Park start tomorrow night against the former Marlins farmhand Luis Castillo. So that is coming up tomorrow night on the air, 6:30 with the Marlins Live pregame show. First pitch a little after 7.
Yeah, both starters trending in the right direction.
Some changes for the Marlins as Rafael Ortega stays in the game. He hit for Galloway, so he is in right. And a new pitcher is Tayron Guerrero. 58th game for him. And he'll face Mason Williams, Tucker Barnhart, and the pitcher's spot here in the 8th. back to the screen. 98 miles an hour, top of the zone. And it's 0-1 to Mason Williams, who walked in his first plate appearance. A line out and a fly out. For Guerrero, last time we saw him was against the Nationals earlier this week, and it was a scoreless inning. And that's what you'd hope to see more of in, what are there, 10 games left? Maybe we see him another 3-4 times, depending on how it works out. But if he could kind of piggyback on what he did his last time, that's what the Marlins would like to see.
Well, what you saw last time was a few more sliders, and that's really what it comes down to, is the ability to keep hitters off balance a little bit more. Talk maturation process an awful lot here at the big league level. When you look at Guerrero, I'm not sure that you could say with 100% conviction he's your 8th inning guy next season. I think that's what, in a perfect world, or maybe a perfect first season, you'd be saying to yourself. It hasn't quite gone that way, but let's be honest, this young man has got great stuff. He's got a big arm, and a few things go his way or he gets into a rhythm early, I'll tell you, it could very well be a late inning threat next season.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Mason Williams. Well, all that talk of the Red Sox, and if the score holds and they can win the division and celebrate at Yankee Stadium, things turned in a hurry. There was a grand slam to the opposite field by that guy. Well, not that guy, but the guy whose jersey he's wearing, Giancarlo Stanton. A grand slam on one of those patented low line drive 2-iron kind of knockdown shots. And it's now 6-4.
Well, to right field. The other way.
But yeah, only 8 games tonight, and everybody in the National League East is playing. The Mets and Nationals right now. It is a 3-2 Mets lead in the 7th inning. Scherzer, 13 strikeouts. So you're saying that gives him 290 on the year? 290.
That is correct.
And next time he pitches, that'll be against the Marlins. So they will try to keep him from reaching 300 strikeouts. Barnhart, ground ball, second base. Castro, quick turn. They double him up. Had a few double plays in this game. I see the Marlins turn one.
Let's go ahead and give you another look. You've seen a few double plays from the Reds tonight. It's good to see one from the Marlins. Quick turn by Starlin Castro. Good finish by Riddle. You're absolutely right. Busy night.
So the Reds go to their bench. Gabriel Guerrero will take the at-bat. Made his major league debut earlier this month. Had 81 RBIs this year to lead all Reds minor leaguers. Third in homers with 19.
Well, he's had 5 pinch hit appearances this season, 0 for 5.
So it's Guerrero against Guerrero. 2-0, misses outside. Now the count full, 3-2.
Guerrero, right at Guerrero, 98 miles an hour, inner third, fouled it straight back. Knocked the mask off JT. My goodness. Basically bounced off his face.
On the ground to Castro. Routine play as Tehran Guerrero gets the double play ball and a ground ball. We get to the bottom of the 8th. 4-0. Marlins trail this one.
.tv is now available at a lower price. Just $49.99. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game, plus you get a free subscription. MLB at Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of this special offer.
Jared Hughes into the game, 68th game for him out of the Cincinnati Reds bullpen. And he'll face Magneuris Sierra, who tries to drop down the bunt, bunts it foul. For Sierra, last 5 games, 4 for 12, a couple of RBIs, a couple of walks. And this year also a 1 for 3 as a pinch hitter. So 333s all around. Swings away, lines it right to Votto.
Ball machine. He records out number 1. It's his patented sinker ball about 80% of the time. Hughes had a very nice season, sub-2 ERA.
Top of the order for Miguel Rojas. A strike. Miggy a single in the first, was hit by a pitch in the third, grounded out in the 5th. Cody Reed started the game for the Reds. 6 scoreless innings, no walks, 6 strikeouts. David Hernandez, a walk, but no runs across, of course, in the 7th inning, and now Hughes gets the 8th. For the Reds, their bullpen ERA in September 4th best in the National League.
Oh, how about that? Played for the Albuquerque Isotopes in 2014.
Another Simpsons reference that clearly went over both of our heads.
Well, I was thinking that 20 years prior to the 2014 season, in 1994, I was playing for the Albuquerque Dukes.
Ah.
Won the PCL that year.
Very nice.
I believe it's still the same ballpark. And redesigned a little bit. Years later.
Yeah, there's a handful of new ones, but I believe the one in Tacoma, which is where the AAA All-Star game was last year, I believe that one has also been redone, but it's one of the older ones.
Mm-hmm.
1-2 to Miguel. Takes it low, 2-2.
Job by Rojas fighting off the slider. As I mentioned, he didn't throw many. About 13% of the time we even see the slider. Let's see, here's his primary pitch.
Rumor has it Miguel Rojas will be on Intentional Talk tomorrow on ESPN and MLB Network.
Yeah, he should be. He's a delightful personality. Privileged to get to know him even better this year after last. His role has increased, and I certainly get it. Very outgoing, very involved in the community here, and he's had a nice season. I'm sure he'll be entertaining.
Absolutely. Probably talk sneakers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen.
They just showed
I just
sneakerhead.
You know, he's going to have to live up to you.
In what?
Oh, he's going to be on MLB Network tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the last time somebody from the Marlins was on MLB Network, it was amazing.
Right. When Brian Anderson was on IT a couple of months ago, you were spot on. Now, if you're referring to one of the last few times.
Did you take some Marlins to?
Yep.
To
yeah, we
MLB
went around. We checked it out. Showed him Studio 42. MLB Central in the morning.
Nice.
Yeah. Mets at night.
Old stopping grounds.
That's right. Saw some old friends. Payoff pitch on the way to Rojas, and it's outside.
Yeah, nice at bat. Well, it's on for the second time tonight. 2 strikes, fouled off a couple tough pitches, earned the walk. Right now, the Marlins need base runners.
They've hit into double plays in each of the last 2 innings. It's kind of stopped any sort of rally they've had. Not too late to get something going, especially with this part of the lineup up. Starlin Castro with a couple of hits tonight. His team leading 37th multi-hit game with JT Realmuto on deck. And a dribbler back to Hughes. Thought about second, but we'll get the sure out at first. And there are 2 away. to bring up JT Realmuto. Been on base all 3 times, although twice on a fielder's choice and once a base hit. Inside, able to get out of the way of that one. 1-0. JT started the day with the team leader in average and homers and RBIs and slugging percentage. Why he was named the team MVP by the Baseball Writers Association of America. Presented that award earlier today.
Yeah, well deserved. He's had that type of season.
This one ripped into left, and that'll get down for a base hit. Miggy will score easily. And Realmuto on his way to second with another RBI. That's 73 for him. And another extra base hit for JT Realmuto.
Yeah, JT's having a real nice night. Two-seam fastball. You see that sinker kind of arm side run back into his swing. Nice job staying through it, driving it into the left field corner. You're absolutely right. 2 outs. Rojas scores easily. JT gets into scoring position. Marlins are finally on the scoreboard.
And that double gives him 53 extra base hits this year, which ties last year's career high. As the Reds closer, Raisel Iglesias loosens in the bullpen. Now Peter O'Brien, a base hit back in the first. And we may see Iglesias right now as the manager Jim Riggleman is on his way to the mound. And it is time for the Florida Lottery called to the bullpen. In comes Iglesias in a 4-1 game. Monopoly jackpot scratch off from the Florida Lottery is a new spin on a classic with a top prize of $5 million. So unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. So it's Raisel Iglesias into the ball game. He is no stranger to working more than just 3 outs. As he has pitched in, this will be his 62nd game this season. He has registered more than 3 outs 15 times.
Yeah, he's had an impressive season. He's been called upon to get more than 3 outs. number of times. He's got 9 saves, 9 of his 28 have gone more than the 1 inning, more than 3 outs. He's got good stuff. 4-seam fastball, sits around 96 miles an hour. Changeup and the slider.
He will face Peter O'Brien. And Derek Dietrich has moved into the on-deck circle. That would be Austin Dean's spot, but with the righty Iglesias, Marlins looking for a better matchup. Got to get there first. Got to have Peter O'Brien extend this inning.
O'Brien, for the most part, will be dealing with the 4-seam fastball and the slider, not so much the changeup. Changeup's for the lefties.
O'Brien ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. Here's the 2-1, and that'll get through into right field. Right off the end of the bat, may have broken his bat, but O'Brien brings home JT, and it's 4-2.
Stay hot, Peter O'Brien. Nice approach. Done what many have not done against Iglesias this season. Make contact against that slider. That is only the 7th hit this season that he has given up to a right-handed batter on the slider. It tells you how hot O'Brien is. Nice approach, didn't try to do too much, didn't pull off, just stayed on it, went with it. Hold from the right side. Cincinnati Reds up 4-2, tying run in the box.
And it's Derek Dietrich. He'll hit for Austin Dean.
Well, Dietrich 3 for 23 this season, pinch hitting, does have an RBI. 3 career pinch hit home runs.
He has seen Iglesias before. He's 1 for 5 with a strikeout. Like he needs a new piece of lumber. That foul ball. With O'Brien's hit, the Marlins now 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position tonight. That 2-game series against the Nats, they were just 1 for 10. To first and foul. Nothing, and 2 to the pinch hitter Dietrich. That one to the backstop, and O'Brien moves up 90 feet.
I don't know if that was a bit of a cross up or not. Barnhart went to the backhand. He's kind of asking for a high, and he got low. Right through the wickets. In fact, past the glove and through the home plate umpire's legs. It was a wild pitch.
Another 1-2 from Iglesias. In the air, right center field. And Hamilton puts it away, but the Marlins get a couple as we go to the ninth in Miami. To make this a little bit more interesting as we go to inning number 9, let's check in on the Bonefish Grill fresh catch of the day. Hermosillo out in right center field. That is a terrific effort in a game that finished 21-3.
Yeah, fantastic catch. Positive energy up, trying to make a great catch like that. I'll tell you, 18-2 at the time he made that catch. Not easy to do. Any kind of like positive energy, I think, has pretty much been run out of the body.
Right.
18-2, you're like, oh, can we please get to the end of this?
Yeah, this may not go our way. Let's just get out of here healthy. But this one still could for the Marlins. Down a couple. It'll be Brett Graves' job to keep it at a 4-2 deficit. 9-1-2 for the Reds. Hamilton, Schebler, and Peraza. Hamilton a walk in the 3rd inning. Stole a base, came around to score. A line out and a ground out. Marlins expect the bunt. Rojas in on the grass at 3rd. But Hamilton swinging away toward right center field, and Ortega will cut it off, get it in quick with the speed of Hamilton, who on the first pitch singles to start the ninth. Now, I know you've been paying very close attention to the pop-out videos. Did we have one on Billy Hamilton that said that he had his own sandwich?
No.
It was the Billy Ham and Cheese. And I want to say it was in Pensacola.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of those things that before Hamilton was, stealing 40, 50 bags a year at the big league levels in the Arizona Fall League, and that was one of the nuggets that stuck in my head, the Billy Ham and Cheese sandwich.
Well, I know that you got me wandering all over the place. He stole, I think it was like 150 or 160 bases one season in the minor leagues, I believe. Was that the same place?
There were a couple of stories that he scored on a sac fly on the infield, and he also scored on a ground out from second, ground out on the infield. That's how fast he was. That's how the legend was built.
And couldn't look. There you go. Look at this, unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Look how fast these guys are. Fantastic.
They're almost as fast as Billy Hamilton.
I think they're faster. I don't think Billy would have pulled that off. 155 in 2012. There you go.
Bluffed. Stays put. And it's 3 balls and no strikes to Schebler.
Well, the one thing that has stayed true here at the major league level, and I've heard it repeatedly when it comes to Billy Hamilton, you can't steal first. That's why he's sitting in the 9th spot in the lineup. I think the Cincinnati Reds would love for him to project as the #1 hitter at some point in his career. He's a good defender, can play center field, can steal a base, but if he got on just a little bit more.
In front of home plate, that's a fair ball. JT gets the out at second, and they double up Schebler.
Oh my.
How about that?
What a play. Are you kidding me? Get it done, JT. Very nice. Assume nothing. He didn't wait for anything. He pounced. He got out from behind home, fired a rocket down to second base. Watch JT and watch fast. It's in slow motion, but he's moving quick. He jumps out. Quick release as the ball's sitting on the line. Called a fair ball. He doesn't know that. He's just making a play. Strong throw to second base to get Hamilton. That's the hard part. Nice job by JT Riddle, by the way. And Schebler, who a little hesitant getting out of the box. That's a big double play.
Huge. And you know what? An excellent job by Corey Blazer, the home plate umpire, because there's really no line to trust right there, because at this point in the game and that part of the batter's box, there's no line.
Yeah, he's got to move as fast as JT does.
And he got right to the right angle. Watch the home plate umpire.
Well, you're absolutely right. Put himself in tremendous position, Blazer did. And again, JT, I mean, we know how fast he is back there, but Blazer's probably not thinking, oh, okay, I've got to be quick here.
Well, I mean, with a name like that, he must be fast.
Well, listen, he only does that on trails.
Oh, Peter O'Brien, over his shoulder basket catch. The Marlins with some defense in the 9th inning. All around the infield. Excellent work. Well, now can they do it with the bats? Down 2. Bears nothing to hide. By Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. By your South Florida Honda dealers. Ready to roll. Bottom of the 9th. Marlins down a couple. Breaking ball misses inside from Iglesias. We've got the last out of the 8th inning, but did give up the RBI single to Peter O'Brien.
Now the Marlins have to find a way to get somebody on, get this going against Iglesias. 2 to tie, 3 to win.
This one popped straight up. Barnhart flips the mask and makes the catch. 1 away. Double play in the 7th inning, hitting for Isaac Galloway. Of course, the Marlins need a base runner. Ortega, Riddle, and then the pitcher's spot. Brian Anderson, probably the most likely to pinch hit if it gets to that point. Ortega ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. 3-0.
Iglesias really suddenly struggling with the strike zone. Fastballs in and 1 away, nowhere near.
And ball 4 right at the top of the zone. Ortega thought it might have been a strike, but instead a 4-pitch walk. And the Marlins will in fact bring the tying run to the plate.
Yeah, that's ideally what they wanted to do. Ortega taking all the way. Regardless, make a pass at that. Gets the call. Himself down to first base and gives the Marlins an opportunity to put together an inning. And remember this, the Cincinnati Reds have allowed 219 home runs this season. That is tops in Major League Baseball.
JT Riddle takes a strike. 0 for 3 tonight. Anderson has moved into the on-deck circle. Riddle has not seen Iglesias in his career. Off his foot and do it again.
A nice job by JT. Last 2 pitches have been changeups, sitting at 88-89 range. Lots of sink to defend the plate. Here's a good look. Watch that little diving action at the end. He had to work his way down with his legs in order to get down enough, far enough, foul that off.
Get a piece of that one, and that's going to be strike 3. So 2 away, and it'll bring up Brian Anderson.
Now, one pitch he had not seen in the sequence, the slider.
Marlins handed out their minor league player of the year awards yesterday. Austin Dean won in 2018, Brian Anderson in 2016. The last hope. A pinch hit appearance here in the 9th as the tying run.
Well, Brian Anderson has experienced an awful lot of firsts this season, including a pinch hit home run. He's 1 for 1 this season. In fact, it was a 2-run home run. Chad Sabatka, the Atlanta Braves. Just saying. Good time to bring that up.
Yeah. He's also 1 for 1 in his career against Iglesias. Steckenrider, who has felt the pain of giving up a homer to Brian Anderson. Little low, 2-1. Marlins down to their final strike.
Cincinnati Reds holding on Ortega at first base. Should be able to get a good secondary lead, force the action back to first. There's a ball on the infield.
That's wide, and Ortega will get a jump start regardless. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here it comes in the dirt, and the Marlins have the winning run coming to the plate. Miguel Rojas.
Yeah, good at bat for Brian Anderson. Needed that. I'll tell you what, Paul, it's been a while. It was a flavor for this team for quite some time, the walk-off.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, flavor of the month, right? Everybody was trying it. Everybody was doing it. But we got 6-7 Marlins with walk-offs this year.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
8 walk-off wins.
Just saying.
And the guy who had the first, Miguel Rojas, in the 17th inning of a game on March 30th, will, oh man, get a hit taken away by Scooter Gennett, and that is how this game ends. Oh man. One more foot to Gennett's right, or left that is, and that's a base hit, a 4-3 game. Instead, it's the Coors Light refreshing finish. My goodness.
Well, have himself a game. 1 step, 2 steps, and a dive into the hole. No play bigger than that. You can go all the way back to the offense for the Cincinnati Reds tonight. Talk about the Gennett home run, the Gennett double, the Gennett 4 RBIs, or the Gennett final play of this ball game. At the end of the day, Scooter Gennett, yeah, he pretty much single-handedly won game 1 of this series.
WB Mason Marlins Live post-game show. Craig and Nelly. A tough one tonight for the Marlins to begin the final series of the regular season here at Marlins Park. Marlins Live post-game show is next.